And my bad, too late. So my name is Femi Adebanjo. I am a data professional by trade at the moment, but before I became a data professional, I was once like you guys trying to find out what to do, which area am I best suited. I mean, I had Blue Sky had a lot of a lot of examples. I mean, a lot of courses that you could do. So I was a bit confused, just like you. But then I went through a session like this, and I decided I was going to go through the data analysis course. I joined in, I think, January 2023. Yes, I think. Yeah, and I went through the program. I was able to gain insights, gain knowledge, and that propelled me into my journey into data and what I do right now. So right now, my current role is a senior data manager at a at a specialized hospital. The hospital I work in, we run bone and marrow transplantation for people who have blood cancer, bone cancer, things like that. So I work as a data manager within a team. Before that, I also was in a role as a data, um, some would say it's a data coordinator role, but I was doing more of analysis basically in a palliative care unit within another hospital. So right now, my domain is healthcare data. That's where I have the most experience, and I've spent the last 18 months working basically. But yeah, the journey started with undergoing a course like this. Yes, like I said, 2023, I joined, did the program, and thankfully, thank God, I was able to get a job within 3 months. But I got an entry level role. I did the entry level thing for a while, and within 6 to 8 months, I was already looking at the big roles, and then so I was able to jump several bands within the NHS. Started as a band three, jumped to band six, and things like that. So all this is possible, and because I mean, especially people like us who come from Nigeria who have a wealth of experience in different domains, it all counts. So it just depends on how you push yourself, how you present yourself, to these employers. So the purpose of this course is just to introduce, of this session is to introduce data analysis to anyone who's interested. You might be wondering what is data analysis. It's involves various steps, and sometimes you're not even required to undergo all these steps. It involves the use of so many tools, but sometimes you can just find yourself in companies where you only need to use one or two tools, but it's important for you to understand and gain the knowledge across board so that by the time get into an employment, whatever it is that you're tasked to do, you know how to go about it. So data analysis just involves examining data, cleaning, transforming, and modeling data to extract useful information. Um, all this information that you work with helps you inform, you know, the stakeholders. Stakeholders could be management, could be your team members. You drive insights from, the data. Data is everywhere. Everything everybody does generates data, and companies generate data every time, regardless the domain, regardless of which industry it is, they're always generating data, and everyone wants to make sense of this data, which is where you come in as a data analyst. So the course is data analysis, but you're going to be learning data. You'll be learning data, skills. And just because you say data analyst doesn't mean when you finish you must go and learn. You must, search for data analyst job. There's a wide range of um, data related roles that you can apply for, and all similar. Some very technical, some not so technical. Depends on where your taste is. It's a critical skill today. It's very in a very data-driven world. Like I said, it is applicable across multiple industries. So any industry you can think of, they need somebody to interpret their data or to manage their data or to even coordinate how they store their data and things like that. So why should you learn data analysis? It's in high demand. Like I said, every industry needs a data person, whether it's at the low level, at the mid level, or even at the advanced level where you have to do some magic, machine learning and all those things. everybody needs a data professional in their team. If you are someone who does something else, maybe you're a project manager, or you're just someone who sits on a board as an office manager, whatever it is you do, having this skill set also, it makes you versatile. That means you can make sense of the data that you generate. You can make, informed decisions based on this without anybody's help. It's also good for career growth. You can take it as a career on its own, data career, but having these skills, also helps you if you have a path that you currently, towing. Um, the details of data analysis, like I said, there are several things that you could do. I'm just gonna move some of these things forward. Usually, the first steps is you need to identify and collect and migrate data. There's a process within data analysis they call the ETL. It means extract, transform, and load. And then the last bit is, analyze and then maybe then visualize. So those are the kind of things a data professional does. You identify the data, find out exactly where data is stored. If it's from different sources, you need to bring them together. Once you're done with that, you need to manage, you need to clean, you need to aggregate. So the ones you need to sum, you can sum them. The one that you can aggregate them together on Excel, you can do all those things, and then you bring them forward before you manipulate. If you want to link different data sets, for example, structured data can have, linkage, like, links. You could have a sheet, for example, on Excel that handles just customers, right? But you don't want to handle your customers and your transactions on the same sheet. So then they create another sheet and name that transaction. So this process I'm explaining to you is what they call data modeling. It's also important. You are able to know how the data is stored in the backend and what the relationship between them is. Those are some of the things you'll be learning on the course. And then once you're done, you could provide some analysis of the data that you've collected and that you've cleaned. You've made sure that everything is not is well prepared before you now start visualizing. If you don't go through all these steps and you start visualizing, you probably run up with errors. And then visualizing just it tells a story about all this data that you've worked with. So that's what happens when you do that. And then last step is you summarize and you present the data. So when you summarize and you present, that's where your communication skills come into play. You need to be able to break it down for end users, people who are not so technical. You need to be able to explain it in layman's terms. So those are some of the things a data analyst does. And not just data analyst, people, across different levels. You could be a data manager like myself, you could be a business intelligence analyst. Your job can just stop as, oh, just extract the data and give it to the visualization team. So some teams have different people that do different things. Some people are just ETL experts. That's people who just get the data from the different sources, merge them together, give it to the analysis guys or business intelligence guys or the visualization guys, and they do their magic. But you might be the same person who does all these things. You get the data, you clean it, you analyze it, you visualize it. So some jobs are like that. You get to do all these things. Some soft skills that you would require that you need to acquire actually. Critical thinking, you're always thinking on the spot. There are several ways to go about the same thing, right? But some ways are actually shorter than the other. There is let's say, for example, in Excel, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Microsoft Excel, right? Some of you want to do, oh, cell A plus cell B plus cell C plus cell D, and you want to sum up everything. That's a quick way. Some people are comfortable doing that. But there are other people who will just go to Excel and do equals to sum and then select all the cells and then they have their sum. So different levels that you always have to think what's the quickest or what's the most effective way. I have to do this and then interpret what you're saying. You're always going to be a problem solver. You have to be someone who is keen to solve problems, especially when it comes to data problems. Someone requests the data, how quickly can you get it? Someone wants to know, for example, or how many sales over the past quarter and things like that. If the data is available, you as a data person, you have to have that skill to be able to solve those sort of problems. Communications, like I said, you need to be able to present your insights in simple, and clear ways for them to understand. You must always pay attention to details. Errors are very important. You must catch them because they can skew your data. Imagine you're trying to while fiddling with data or something is 9, but for example, your hand now touched 9 again, and it's now 99. 9 to 99 is such a long way, and by the time you do your analysis, you can find out that that kind of thing can skew your data, especially when you're doing things like averages or your summing. So attention to detail is key. Have your steps ready. Things you think might cause problems, try and avoid them, plan ahead. Collaboration, like I said, you can work with various teams. If it's various data teams, that's usually better. But if it's people who are not technical, for example, you need data from people who use a particular system. They probably don't know how to extract those data. You have to be able to collaborate with them, get exactly what you need. Also with the stakeholders, they might request, things and tell you, I need this sort of insight, but they don't know exactly what they're asking. Maybe it's too vague what they're asking for. You need to be able to collaborate with people across different levels, whether low level, mid level, or high level. Time management, things can be your reports can be a bit timely. I mean, I once interviewed for a position at an A&E, and part of the process was, oh, you need to submit a certain data every morning. So you need to be fast. So whatever data they generate the whole day up to the night point, when you come in the morning, you have an hour or two to do your cleaning and get the dashboard ready. Of course, there's templates and all those things, but you need to be able to do that and deliver. And they were very keen on things like that. So time management is very key. You can have multiple projects that are running at different times. You need to be able to manage your time. And you need to be adaptable. You always have to learn new skills. You have to always show interest, keep up with the times. Now, things are changing. There are faster ways of doing things. Some people, for example, you might spend minutes or, almost an hour trying to go, how do I go about cleaning this data? What formula do I use, researching and all those things? But, AI has made some of these things easy. Sometimes with a prompt, you can generate a sample query, change your cells and things like that. Before you know it, you've done what you're trying to do as quickly as possible. So you always have to adapt. You also have to use new tools. There are several tools out there that allow you to do your job easier. So you as a data person, you must always be informed. The tools you need to learn, I've categorized them in two different categories now. The first one is starter tools, which are, they are very, very essential. Microsoft Excel are some of the things you need to, is one of the, you know, is the most used. Everybody must know Microsoft Excel. Tableau and Power BI are similar. They are visualization tools. They are the ones who tell your story. So anything you have in your Excel, any data that is stored with Excel, you can bring them in, you can import them, or I can say you can load them into Tableau and Power BI. Then they will now help you, aggregate, tell story, create charts and all those things, dashboards. That's what they're good for. SQL is a bit more advanced. Mm, okay, sorry. Yeah, so SQL is a bit more advanced. It has more functionalities. For example, Excel has limitations of how many rows of data it can handle. SQL limitations are far more. I mean the not the limitations. SQL's, it can take more in terms of data, and it also integrates with several other applications. So any application the SQL database management system allows you to do that, but there's a language. The language that allows you to query those data out is SQL. So there's a difference between SQL and the database management system. So SQL is just like a programming language, but it's very, it's something you can learn because mostly it's like plain English. Yes, mostly like plain English. There are special words, there are special keywords that you use, but you use it to query databases where data is stored, and those databases can have hundreds of thousands of data in them. That's where SQL comes into play. It doesn't do as much visualization like Tableau or Power BI. You can only do views, simple views, but it also connects. So the same way you can connect Microsoft Excel to Tableau and Power BI, you can also connect SQL databases, into some of these softwares. You'll be able to visualize them and all that. The other advanced tools, which are very relevant for you, are Python. Python is also very much advanced. It depends on how far you want to go. You could learn Python as well. There's also Azure, there's SPSS for researchers, and the concepts that you need to learn, like, data modeling. This is the usual pathway if you're starting out. There's the, associate or entry level, there's the mid-level data analyst, senior data analyst, then the principal data analyst, and then you make your way all to the top management. Management, you don't have to, get your hands dirty, but the experience can help you, when you get to that level. Some of the job roles that you can get, especially in the entry role, you can be a junior data analyst. This is after you have, acquired all these skills, whether technical or soft. These are some of the job roles you can, look at getting: junior data analyst, business intelligence intern, data entry specialist, reporting assistant, data coordinator. Those are some of the roles. For mid-level, you could be a data analyst. You could become a business intelligence analyst. You do a lot of SQL with that or any other relevant software. Operations analyst, marketing and data insights analyst. I once worked at a um, music and entertainment distribution firm. So, and I used to handle a lot of people's music royalties. Uh, I didn't know I was doing data work then, but I was getting data from all these things, and I was providing people summaries of how much they've earned. So that's some of the things I did in the past that was related, that I didn't know I was doing data. So you yourself could be, you could have done something in the past, whether it's use Excel to, track all your sales and all those things and sums. You may not think about it, but you've actually been doing data related roles. And all these things are just transferable skills that when you start looking for data roles, they come into play because you can call on those experiences. You could become a data manager like myself. Less technicalities, but there's more domain knowledge. You have to know more about the industry, but you don't have to do more of the advanced data work. But yeah. Advanced roles, you could be a senior data analyst, you could be a data scientist, um, a bit more technical, you could become a data engineer. So these two roles, you need to be an expert at the use of SQL, and also you need to know Python. Sometimes you need to know another program called OWL, similar to Python. You could become an analytics consultant, and you could become a machine learning analyst. So those are some of the things you could do with data skills. What industries can you work in? You could work in finance, healthcare, marketing, e-commerce, tech, government, entertainment. Like I said, any industry you think you have worked, even in well, I said government is in there, but anywhere you think you have worked in the past, regardless the role, they generate data. Everything, even you as a person, if they put, all these monitors on your body, it's generating data, tells you how many times your heart's beating, how many times you slept. You can use that to calculate different things. So that's what data people do anyway. They make sense of the data that anything generates. These are some of the average salaries. This was us at 2023. First one's from Reed, second one's from Glassdoor. These are some of the salaries you can earn averagely, and then the minimum could be as much as 30,000. This is if you're in London. Some roles can be advertised as less. It doesn't still mean, I mean, some advertisers are like that. They want an all-in-one person for low prices, but don't look at the salaries yet. By the time you're ready and this is the domain you want to go into, then you can know exactly how much you want to earn as a data analyst. But even 70,000 as a max it's not 100% accurate, because you could, depending on what level you're in or what industry you're working in, you can learn more than that. Um, this is just for data analysts. And if you go higher and become a data engineer, data scientist, machine learning analyst, you definitely earn more than that. How do you get started? You enroll in the data course, attend all classes. You'd be active in team projects and tasks. You'd network. and stay up to date. And the most important of all is you have to practice regularly. It does take a good amount of practice to get used to, a lot of these things that you're going to be learning. If you don't practice, the more you use things, the more you get used to them, and the more it becomes part of your know-how, what you have in your head. So it's important to always practice, and it's very hands-on. There's several things you can always do. Um, Even after the course or when you have free time, you can get data sets. There are websites where you can get data sets, and there's a website called Kaggle. You can get data sets from there and just analyze. And then once you're done, you could publish them. You see sample dashboards all around, flying everywhere. In 2023, we had like a we had like a session on Blue Sky. We were told to analyze or to visualize the Nigerian election results and things like that. And with some of the skills that we've learned, we're able to come up with that, in a nice format. So that's the introduction to data analysis. Does anyone have any question? Um, so when I was going through, I don't know if you joined when I said you have to be adaptable, right?
No,
In
sorry, I joined late.
late. Okay, so it's just some of the soft skills that you have to learn. You have to be adaptable. And when someone says you have to be adaptable, you have to, you know, go with the times. Right now, Python is in vogue, right? It's not that when you get the job, they will say you must know how to use Python. There's thousands of jobs where you don't have to use Python, right? But if you want to put yourself in the best possible, what's it called? Scenario for you to get a job, you have to be well-rounded, right? Um, Again, like I said before, you can get a job today and you can be doing Excel from morning to night, like myself, even though you have other skills. Like where I work, there's the information team. They deal more of the SQL. You need data, they can pull the data for you. I'm only just managing my department, do a lot of Excel, manage database, do audits, and do your normal small charts and dashboard. I do all that. But if I'm needed to run a query in SQL, I do have some SQL skills. I could run those queries. I have access to the database, but I don't need to because there are people I could just ask, and that's their job to do it. But to answer your question, to put yourself in the best possible scenario to get a job, yes, and to be adaptable, move with the times, yes. And Python is not just for data analysis. People use it for coding, machine learning as well, different things. So yeah,
Yep,
did that
thank
answer
you.
your question? Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Hi Femi, there's a question on the chat. I'll just read it out if that's okay.
Sure.
So, hi, you've mentioned lots of tools, including visualization and data manipulation tools. But is there any way to learn a few for beginner roles and then learn others while on the job? That's a question from Anand.
Okay. So basically, data manipulation is it's a process. If you use Excel, you can manipulate data. When you change data, for example, the dates in Excel. That's if you know or you don't know. The dates in Excel can appear as a date format and it can also appear as a number format. You see those dates, they equate to something numbers wise. So if you are able to change that number to a date, you've just manipulated that data. So that's basically a process. It's more of a skill. The tools, yes. Um, the first step is Excel. Is very, very is the most important thing you must learn because some of the things you will do with all these other tools, you can actually do them on Excel. You can, manage your data in Excel. You can manipulate it. That means you can do different things. You can change. For example, when you do a column and you are summing up or multiplying or converting, or for example, you have a full name in a cell, but you want to split them, have first name in one column, your last name in one column. When you go through all that process, that's data manipulation, and also changing the format is data cleaning. So first step is learn Excel. You need a bit of maths. statistics, just basic understanding. When people are telling you, I want to see the average of this, or I want to, just different, or do a basic, um, what's that word? Descriptive analysis, basically. So those are if someone tells you, I want to get descriptive analysis of this range of data, you have to understand a bit of statistics. And you can, there's several courses you can do on statistics just to understand a bit of that. Excel is the first step. Then you go on to the other ones, which are SQL. That's a query language. Um, and then you do your visualizations, which is either Power BI or Tableau. If you choose, different companies use different things, right? You can decide to be someone has domain knowledge in Power BI. There are now different levels. There are different certifications that you would do and advance yourself in that. You can become a guru there, or you could be a Tableau person. There are similar qualifications you can get Tableau wise, but if you want to be adaptable, you can know a bit of everything, and then it will help you along the way. Does that answer your question, Anand?
Yeah. Anand, does that answer your question? All right, we'll take silent as yes. Okay. Oh, she's responded for you. Thank you, Anand. Hi, Bowie. I'm not sure if I'm calling your name right. You have your hand up. Hiya.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you.
Right. So you mentioned something about the ETL process, which is to extract, transform, and load. So I assume that the extract is for you to get probably your data sets of data from different forms. The transform is like to clean and probably validate for you to move to the next stage, which is the analysis part. So like how is the cleaning part normally like, and how do you validate yourself that the cleaning process is done?
Okay. So the cleaning part actually comes in the transform part of it because you're transforming data. When you extract data from different sources, the way they come can be different. Sometimes you need to even merge this data into one final data set that can allow you, change formats. If I'll use an example for I'll use an example for, let's say, sales data. They use like a POS data. That's where they record the transactions and everything. And then you have, let's say they use another software to handle their purchases, basically. But that example doesn't hold water because usually there are softwares now that helps you handle purchase and sales, everything in one. So everything is integrated together. But let's just assume that it's not integrated together. You have suppliers, you have another software that handles suppliers, you have another software that handles sales. The way the format of those data would come in would be different. So when you extract those data from the two different data sources and you put them in one, whether it's an Excel or whether it's an SQL, you now start transforming. That's where your data cleaning comes in. The date format, let's say from the supplier's software, is different from the date format of the sales software. You already have a problem there, right? So that means you need to now make sure they're in uniform format. American, they do their months. Is it months? Yeah, they do month, day, and year. In the UK, we do day, month, and year. So those kind of things, that's when you now start transforming the data that comes from the supplier, transforming to make sure it's in one format. And that's where, when you talk about data validation, that's where it now comes in. You can aggregate, if it's numbers, you can aggregate. In Excel, you can do things that are called filtering. By filtering, you can have an overview of the kind of data you have when something is out of place. If you have a text, for example, in a number, you will definitely see that. If you have null values, you will see that. Then you can investigate and find out what the issues is. You know whether you want to exclude those or you want to give them a zero value rather than the text null value. Sorry, I'm saying a lot of technical jargons, but that process of cleaning and validating comes in your transform phase. When you're done and you want to now start telling a story, that's when you load it onto your visualization softwares like Power BI or Tableau. But some of these softwares also handle your transformation, right? You can clean data on Power BI with a tool called what's it called? Um, Forgot the name. Yeah, there's a tool. It looks like Excel. It's similar because it's by Microsoft, right? You can use that to Power Query. My bad, that's the name of the tool. You can clean your data with Power Query before you now load. So they made that software almost like an all-in-one. The only thing you have to do is just do your extraction. You can transform it and do everything you have to do, and then you can still load it in the same software, and then you can tell your story in there. You can also do your data validations, making sure all those things are the cells, the columns that they are in the right format. Because if you don't do all that, you're not going to be able to tell your stories with the visualization part of the software. I think Tableau also does the same. The full version of Tableau, you can, you know, do all these things I've just mentioned. Tableau works on both Windows and Mac, no issues, but Power BI preferably on Windows. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, sorry, Femi. More questions are begetting questions.
Sure.
There's a question on the chat. So there are two, but I'll read the first one first. Which is the simplest Excel to watch and learn from YouTube, specifically by Nigerians or African, that will take one from the nitty-gritty of things? I think they're asking for recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there isn't anything that's the simplest Excel to watch. Everything has beginner level up to all the way to advanced level. But you have to be specific with what you want to learn. I'm pretty sure if you do it, run searches on beginner level Excel, whether it's on Udemy, whether it's on any of these platforms, you will get targeted beginner level courses for the use of the software. But then also on Blue Sky, I know there's usually like an Excel session. They take you through the basics of Excel, the most the tools, the shortcuts and the what you must know basically in Excel. The basic you must know. There are other things. Excel is such a huge platform. All the things we're trying to do, there are people who do everything on Excel and they do it well. They create their dashboards. It's a bit longer, but people do it. Create their charts, create their dashboards. It requires a lot of work and effort, but there are platforms that have been using Excel for ages and they do this perfectly well. There are finance managers, even in Nigeria, that use Excel so well to do dashboards, right? But the advent of these new applications makes it easier. But from where we come from, some people don't want to pay the license to be able to do these things easier, so they stick to Excel, basically. So yeah, just when you want your searches, just say beginner level Excel, you get beginner level tutorials of whatever you want to do. Same thing with Blue Sky. Blue Sky also goes through that process. They start with the nitty-gritty, like you put it, yes, nitty-gritty of things. You have sample data sets to work with. So yeah. Okay, next
Okay.
question.
Thank you. Allow me, your hand is up. Do you want to add to that question
Yeah,
or is that something else? Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, what I wanted to add earlier, was more of I think you should just source it. Just go to YouTube and get good videos. So we'll still take you through some of it, but you just go through videos. It helps. Yeah, just go through videos. There's no specific one anyone can, say I kept aside to share. But anyways, while I was raising my hands up specifically, Dr. McJ, can you unmute yourself? Can you speak? Are you in a place you can talk?
Yeah, I can talk, but there's a noisy background a little bit. So,
Funny enough, I can't even hear the noise. I want,
oh,
if
okay.
this platform is for interaction, if I've noticed that this cohort were a bit, shy speaking. Please, let's try
I
and
I
unmute.
I can talk. I can talk. No problem.
All right. So
I'm
subsequently,
just
your questions, raise your hands and let's speak. Let's hear you. With time, before you know it, by the time you talk 5, 10 times, if you speak, I don't need to be checking the participant name to say it's Dr. McJ that is speaking because with time, your voice registers. If
Sister, allow me,
Juliet
you should know
speaks
me.
now, that's so. I just want
Allow me,
people
you
to
should know
raise
me.
their hand. And no, sister, don't let us find you.
Oga Deji knows me very well.
We need to be a bit more interactive. Hi, Olayemi. I'm happy for you to unmute.
Hello.
Okay, please
Yes,
ask your question,
I
please.
typed my question. I said, with the advent of AI, how relevant will data analysis be as a career in another 1 to 2 years?
Okay.
Mhm.
That's a valid question because I mean there's always this um fear that AI is going to take a lot of people's jobs and all that, but from to the best of my knowledge, it's people who don't know how to use AI that AI will take their job. As data analysts, you have to use the best. Like I said, when you're adaptable, right, you can scale up. You can do things quicker. You can be more effective, all that. So I think AI is going to take your job as a data analyst. If anything, you as a data analyst who is adaptable would use AI to do your job better. Like I said, I don't know if you were at the beginning. Usually, if I wanted to do something in Excel, and I needed to come up with with an Excel formula of something that's really, really complex, right? I mean, my first job, I had such a problem. I needed to do something. It was so hard. I was struggling, and it was my first data role in this country. I was really struggling. And then in just a bit of research using AI and everything, I was able to get like a formula that I know that if I sat down with this thing for a long time, I probably won't get that formula you get. So you need to you need to use AI to be more effective. There are now courses that allows you to um, they need you to they allow you to what's the word? They allow you to integrate AI into it. Right now, where I work, I'm undergoing like a apprenticeship. It's called AI for business value. So basically, it's just looking at different AI solutions and how you can implement them at your workplace. And that was even sponsored by the place that I work in, and it's like a 1 year thing. So they understand the use of AI. AI is still new, and from what I know, right now you're seeing a lot of AI tools. Everybody's creating this and creating that, but it comes with a lot of inconsistencies. It's not getting most of the things right. It does some basic things. So AI will come, but it's not the advent of AI to take your job. It's just the advent of AI to create solutions for you as someone who uses AI. So don't be scared. Data analysis, to the best of my knowledge, or any data role is, you know, is a role in demand. And you could end up being someone who is involved in machine learning. So you see all these AI that you're talking about, they were, built with a lot of data. And how did they build those data? It was as with the help of, well, they got paid, but with the help of machine learning, data influence, data people. So AI learns from data, but you need data people to be able to feed it into AI. So it's not at that level yet that it will be autonomous. There's always going to be people who manage these things, and you could be one of those persons. Does that answer your question, Olanika? Oh, Layemi, rather. Sorry.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Sure.
Right, Alaya. So I'm gonna take a leaf from Olawami's book and request that Nana K. Sapong, do you want to ask your question? Do you want to speak so we can hear you? I can see your question at the chat, but would you want to ask it? Are you able to speak where you are? Hi, Nana.
Yeah, it's very noisy here, please.
Sorry, we can hear you now, and it seems fine. So yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to find out if all the tools that you mentioned we will get a basis through this course.
Okay, an admin can take that. So most definitely, Nana. But the thing is, between you and I, the free training is for 2 weeks, right? So Femi will do an intro to one of them tonight, for example, and probably one next week, after which the free training is done. But for our main internship, we'll be taking each of this, mainly the ones we, train on because of the short duration of 3 months. We can't do so much. We do 3 or 4 at a time, which is the Tableau, Power BI, SQL, and Excel. So those are the 4 we usually do within the internship. And yes, we'll take you from basics, from Oya download to Oya put your name, Oya save it here, or we'll do all those things for you. Full breakdown of how you're going to go about it. And with time, you'll be able to play around with it. The most important thing is get ready with your laptops, get ready, to follow as they're speaking. And we always advise people when it comes to some courses like software testing and data analysis, for example, it's always good to have 2 screens. Even if you use your own laptop and maybe a desktop at home, or your laptop and your wife's laptop, or your partner's laptop, or your child's laptop, so that you have 2 screens, one to be watching what is being done, one that is your main one that you're doing the work, right? But even if you don't have 2 screens, you can split your screens into two and all that. We'll take you through all that, but all this one after the other, yes, we're going to take you from the basics because we're assuming you're a novice. Like I've said, maybe like 2 days ago or something, if you're an expert, the truth is we don't need you on this platform. If you're already an expert, you should be out there working, right? So we need those that don't know their left from their right. In fact, I've just been a bit mindful so people will not think we're assuming everybody's a novice. Usually one of the things we even do, as little as it is, some people don't know how to raise their hands up virtually, right? So we can even teach you and say, okay, this is how to raise your hand. And subsequently, you can raise your hand because for all you care, maybe like one tenth of this class now might have that issue quietly, and that's the reason they are not speaking because they don't even know how to raise their hands. So we try to take you through everything from scratch as much as we can, and that's why we say if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Yes, we like you to drop questions on the chat, especially if you're in a noisy place or you're at work and you are not able to speak. But if you are not in all these situations, please, you need to speak out and all. So I don't want to digress from your question, but the answer to your question is yes, but not during the 2 weeks because the 2 weeks is just 2 classes. You can't learn everything in 2 classes. Come on. Even today, Femi is going to struggle to, help show you guys how to download or, show you guys, or maybe you just go through a simpler route, because everybody has Excel, for example. But if it is the Tableau he's going to take you, for example, he'll show you how to download, we'll do all that. So just calm down, Anna. Middle, we'll take you through everything. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very
All
much.
right. All right.
All right, thank
Anybody
you.
that doesn't know the meaning of middle, go and meet Nana to teach you. Thank you. All right. Back to you, Femi.
I don't see any more questions on the chat. So I think Femi, back to you then.
Okay. So the next part of the session is to just show you a bit of how Tableau works, how you could use Tableau to visualize data. If anyone is going to be following what I'm doing, I can take it a bit slowly, but we have limited time. So the first step is usually to download Tableau Public. Please ensure that you have a good enough computer. Yeah, because it can take a bit of resource. Power BI, Tableau, the heavy platform. So to download Tableau, you just have to go search, download Tableau Public. Yeah. You search download Tableau Public. That's the name of the app. There's 2 different versions. One is a desktop version, which is like a full version, but you have to usually subscribe. The other one is Tableau Public. It has a bit of limitations. The limitations is you can only save on the web, and that actually helps you because you are going to be able to, yeah, I think this is it. Let me just get the right one. Yeah, Tableau Public and resource. Yeah, it can be a bit of a, yeah, Tableau next, Tableau desktop. I think I have this link somewhere. My bad. Let's just do it again. Tableau Public downloads. I'm going to share this in the chat box. Yeah. Yeah. I think it can be a bit of a find. Yeah. Okay. This is it. So discover app, discover, and then you go to, let's go down, 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 down. Okay. My apologies. Let me just find this. But I got it the last time. Okay, so here it is. You have to actually either sign up. You can use your details. Oh, I do have some details there already. I'm not sure.
Femi, you want to drop the link on the chat so I can
Yeah,
save it before I forget?
be honest. I don't think this is the. I think I downloaded it a bit. Yeah, this is it. Tableau Public Desktop Edition. Yeah. So I'm going to save this in the chat. Did I just see a question? I'm guessing having both Python as a skill in data analysis simplifies and fastens the process of you extracting data, transforming, cleaning, or data. Yes, it's much, much easier when you understand it. They work differently because all the things you do in Excel, you can do in Python, but it just works. Excel is more visual. Python it's more of coding, knowing the commands to use to load your data, to clean and all those things. But it does the work sharply, quickly. So if you're on this link to download, just go on there to this. Did I drop it? Yeah, just go here, fill in your first name, last name, email. If you're a student, choose a student, and then you just download the app. The app is heavy. I think it's about 500 megabytes. So you get that downloaded and you would install. I think I downloaded this yesterday. I don't do much of Tableau at my workplace, but it's a skill I have. So this is it. This is the app here. It's 549 megabytes. So once you're done, it works like every other program. Just double click and install, basically. I'm not going to install because I already have Tableau in there. So that's the link to download Tableau. Now, once you've downloaded and installed Tableau, you need data to work with. And this is what the Tableau looks like. I was just playing around with, yeah, I was just playing around with some of these things. Okay, this is the limitation I was talking about. You can't save locally. You have to log in and save your work, right? So I'm going to open Tableau now. You open it, and I've tested a bit of sample data. So we're just going to do a bit of sample on how to create like a simple dashboard. So this is how Tableau opens up, and it's you can you can load. When I said the load process, now you can load an Excel file, which is a database. You can load a text file, which is your .csv. You can also load a JSON file, which is also a type of file format, and Microsoft Access if you're using Microsoft Access, and then also to a server you can you can load with a query to your SQL database. So it's you can use any of those formats. So the file format that we have is in text format. Sorry, it's in Microsoft Excel format. It's this Netflix titles. So this is a clean data already. And like I said, you can get this data even from Tableau's website. There's a page where you have so many sample data that you can work with, and do some testing with. Then as you can see here, I've clicked on Netflix titles. That's the sample database I downloaded. If you look to your left, you see that these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all tables. These are all tables. So what I mean by tables is these are all, if you open Microsoft Excel and you see several sheets, the sheet at the bottom, sheet 1, sheet 2, and all those things. These tables, they actually represent those sheets. And there's a sheet called Netflix titles. There's a sheet called um, Netflix titles cast. Another sheet called Netflix titles category, Netflix titles countries, Netflix titles directors. The reason why you have all this in different sheets is because this database now has been modeled well. They didn't jumble everything together. If you jumble everything together, you have something called a database that is not normalized. There'll be so many duplicates. You can have one Netflix title coming up different times, but for you to have a well-modeled database, you have to normalize, and this is now another aspect of being a data person. You have to know database modeling, which is some of the things you can learn. So I could drop this table here, but I can already see the kind of data that is in there. I can see duration of the titles, just basically the movie, the type. Is it a movie? Is it a TV show? I can see the name, see the date added, the release year, description, whatnot. I can see the show ID, which is meant to be unique. So that means each row has a unique ID, but this has been modeled. So when I drag the next table in, there's already this link. This link now is the relationship between Netflix titles and Netflix casts. So they did not put, because you know that for a movie, there can be like 100 of cast and crew member in there that make up one movie. Imagine we wanted to put that in Netflix titles. It provides a problem, which is why they now, you know, they 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 separated it, and you can see what makes up Netflix titles. It is what the show ID and the name of the cast. So this show ID has a unique number, and you will find the same show ID in Netflix title. This is now the relationship that links these two sheets, and that's how database work. Most database, that's how they work. Relationship between different tables, between different sheets. That is how they work. So show ID, which is a unique identifier. Sorry, too much jargons or too much technical jargons, but please bear with me. Show ID here in Netflix title is the primary identifier for all the Netflix titles. So say the name of the title is Blue Sky as a movie. It has its own unique code. The same way you went to school, or you went to school basically, and you have a unique ID, right? A unique code that identifies you. That thing cannot be replicated. Same thing as a bank account, for example. Now, yeah, bank account is unique, especially in Nigeria or any other country. It's unique. You can't have the same bank account as somebody else. In the UK, they have a combination of sort code and account numbers, right? So those are the unique. It must not duplicate, and that is why they are unique in there. It links to this. For schools now, you can have your name as a pupil, as somebody who went to school, but you can be doing different classes. So there can be another table called, courses, and then they can link you to different courses based off your unique ID. So the unique ID here will now become a foreign identifier. They call it a foreign key in this table. So it helps. This can appear multiple times because it's just a foreign key. So that there can be multiple cast members, for one. Am I talking too much jargons? What was that? Allow me. Was that you? Okay. I think we'll just move it on. This is a bit too much technical.
No, not me, but my hands were up before. I wanted you to share any data that the guys can play around with
Okay.
on the chat also. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I'm going to share that. So let me share this sample data. And I think it is Netflix titles. Let's see if yeah, okay, that works. So you can download this data and play around with it. Yeah, and play around with it basically. So we don't really need to drag all this. It's just because if we need to, we can, right? We can decide to drag this. Yeah, we can decide to drag this. And what this basically does is Netflix titles, it links to different directors can have multiple titles. Different titles can be shot in different countries. Different titles would have multiple cast members and things like that. So this is basically what data modeling does. It helps you structure your data better. Once you're done with all this, you can decide to work on just the titles, which is fine because there's data there that you can analyze anyway. And then once you're done, you go to the bottom left, you see go to worksheet. It's already highlighting it for you. Once you do that, you click on worksheet. So once you click on worksheet, it brings you to the first sheet. So this sheet is now where you do your whether you want to do tell a story with your analysis. Sometimes you already have at the back of your head the things you want to do. All these things they have meanings. They're called measures or dimensions. That's a bit technical, but you will get to know them when you go through some of these courses. Some of them, the format you can see, date added, you can see is in date format. Description is in text format, ABC. Release year is in number format. Show ID is in number format. The title is in text format. So this is what we're going to be working on mostly. So, but firstly, what do we want to do? This is just a database we're not familiar with. We want to first maybe aggregate. Do we want to know how many shows? Yes. How many shows are in this database? What's the total number of shows based in this database? What's the quickest way to know? Is just drag. Most of these tools are really easy to use. You just drag and drop. Drag and drop into the pane. This lists everything out, but you can change this. How do you change it? If you look to the right, top right, there's show me. That means you can create different types of um, visualizations. I can decide to just do this. This is a matrix. They call it the matrix, right? It's just like a table. My bad. Let's do this. Okay. Okay, I know what the problem is. So when I go here and I do show ID, it lists everything out. But I don't want to list everything out. I want to show it. I want to count it. How many do I want? I right click on it, on rows. I come to measures and I click on count. This will count the amount of unique shows in this database. Now it's showing it as a bar chart. I don't need it as a bar chart. I could click on this here, which is the matrix. It's like a table. It tells me this is the total. I can see the count of show ID. In a situation where you have multiple records or multiple show IDs in one database, but you want to see the unique, if you right click again, if you go to measure count, you can say count distinct. That means it will only count it once, regardless whether it comes up more than twice. This happens when, let's say you have transactions on a table, loads of transactions, but you want to know how many customers are responsible for these transactions. You know, if you do the total of all the transactions, it won't give you the total of it won't give you the total of the number of customers. It will only give you the total number of transactions. But how can you know the total number of customers? Is by choosing the unique time. That means the only one time a customer appears on this database, I only want to pick them once. So that's how count distinct works. But here we know that this show ID is already distinct. There's only one value per show. So this database contains 6,000 shows. And this is where our analysis steps. I'm already aggregating, right? For me, usually I already visualize how I want to, if I wanted to do like a dashboard, I know how I want to place it, or I do a bit of a sketch of how I want to place things or what insights I want to tell a story on. So if I wanted to tell a story on this, my bad. On where it says sheet one, if you double click, you can always customize. I can say and call it total shows, right? And make it bold and all those things. You can do all that. Apply and okay. I know this is my total shows. This is my sheet for total shows. Some other things I usually do is just make it that way for some reasons. Okay, for the actual value, you can right click, you can format, and you can also make them, yeah, you can make them here in the middle. The reason why I do this is because for the dashboard, I want things to be a bit centralized. So it will take you a while to know exactly what is what, but you can do all that in there. This is already centralized, this is already centralized. So this is my first sheet. This sheet is what? It's only showing me the total shows. Now I'm showing you Tableau. In Power BI is totally different. In Power BI, you can just go to the dashboard. Power BI works just like Excel, right? On the dashboard, you can do your pum pum pum, do your charts and place it on the dashboard straight away, and you're already working with things as you want them. But in Tableau, you have to do for each chart or for each aspect of your dashboard, you have to do them, sheet by sheet. When you get to the dashboard, you will now combine everything. So what I'll do is I'm going to rename this. By click, rename, I'll call it total shows. Now, what else do I want to do? Do I want to break down the types of shows? Because I've had a look at this data, I know there are two types, right? I'm going to open a new sheet. I know there are two types. So I'm going to go to type and I come here. I can see that there are different types of shows. Now, from data cleaning, you can see that this is probably an error. But you can see here, null, 1944, movies and shows. I think the two types of categories are movies and shows. Can we find out how many is this? Definitely we can. We'll come to show ID again, right? So what I did was I just dropped it on the pane, but you can also drop it on either rows or column, depending on how you want it to appear. So if you drop it in rows, you can see only the title. There's no value. There's no value at all. So for us to know how many values, we need to count the show IDs. So what we do is we come to show ID, put it in columns. It's telling you that this shelf recommends, there's a maximum of 1,000, but it has 6,236 members. You can say, oh, add all members, right? You can say you want to filter it. Let's just do add all members. So the shelf, that's the pane that where this sheet area now can only show 1,000, but we don't even need it because what we want to do is what? We want to count it. So what you have to do is right click. That means you're turning it into a measure. And what do we want to do? Do we want to count? Do we want to average? Do we want to sum? We want to count. We will do count. And as you can see, it's created automatically a bar chart for us. But you want to know how many numbers it is? First step, do this. Click on the matrix. And by clicking on the matrix, you see it has totaled. We have 4,263 movies. And then TV shows, we have 1,969. It's already broken it down. I can see that these two are data cleaning issues. That means you did not, we didn't undergo that process. There are some things, these null values now, we would have taken it off because we don't need null values in our final data. We'll have excluded them. But not to worry, these tools allows you to exclude things that you don't want. So for me to exclude this on null, I would right click and I will click on exclude. The same thing for 1944, I would right click and I would exclude. Now it has already done, it has broken it down for me, right? I know that this is the total amount of shows broken now by, show types. So I'll come here, I'll be like show types, right? And I would apply, okay. So this is my show types. Do I want it to be a bit visually appealing? Yes. What do you think is best? Can anyone suggest a type of chart for me that you think will be best for me to visualize these two TV show types? There's no bad answer. Anyone? Maybe I'll call someone randomly. I'll call my people that have asked questions.
What about pie charts?
Okay, who said that? Who said pie chart?
Rosemary.
Rosemary. So Rosemary, let's see what pie chart does and let me know if it's good enough. So for me to use pie chart, go to show me on the right hand side. You can see the pie chart here. All you have to do is click on it because the job is done. Now we have our pie chart. Does this look good to us? Does it do it for us? Rosemary.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. And this is actually a good choice because you can use it to know, as a whole, 100% of a pie chart, which if you don't want to see the numbers, you want to make it visually appealing, you can use this to work. I think in the comments, someone said a line chart, right? And someone said a donut chart. Yes, a donut chart is actually a type of pie chart too. And like I said, in Power BI, it's so easy. In Excel, it's so easy. It's just a click of a button, boom, boom, you have your donut chart. I love donut charts, but in Tableau, you have to go through several steps to do it. So this pie chart is looking nice, but it looks a bit small. Some things are missing. What do you think is missing, Rosemary?
The percentages.
Okay, you could do percentages. Yes, definitely. Also maybe the labels. And for
The
us to get,
label.
yeah. So how do we know which is which before we hover on top of it? There's a way to go about that. Firstly, what we can do is we can increase the size. To increase the size, you just have to come here to size, right? And you just drag. This is how it works in Tableau. You see where this line is? That's the maximum you can do. If you do it too much, it cuts it too much, right? But you see where this line is in the middle? That's the maximum you can. And again, in Power BI, I might sound like a Power BI freak now, but in Power BI, some of these things are very easy to do. It's like when you're minimizing and maximizing like this now. In Power BI, all you have to do is just do this and you get your size basically. So that's how sometimes I don't know. Tableau has its own perks too, but yeah, Power BI, you go about it. So show types, what's missing? Some of the labels. We would like to know what blue stands for. By hovering on top of it, we can see that it is movie and we can see that it is TV show. Right. So what do we do? We are now going to go on types again, right? But this time you are going to type down on control on your keyboard. If you're on a Mac, you do command, right? Command down and drag it again and drag it to label. Once you do that, you see that this would now show, which is the label, right? You can see that TV show is actually the one in orange. And if you want to change how this appears, you can actually do that by going through this part here. You see where it says type on T. That means we dropped, excuse me. So we dropped type on T and we dropped it to label. So I can come here and just format. And from format, I can decide, oh, okay, my bad. I'll come back to that. The easiest way for me to do it is, okay, yes, I can do that. I can format, I can change the alignment, center, whatever it is. I can change the font, you know, size. I can go 15, make it bigger. I could go bold. Okay, that's not working. Fonts, alignment, shading, totals, labels. Okay, what I do is labels. What I need is labels. Okay. Did it increase? 22. It didn't. Yeah. Power BI is so much simpler, man. Sorry. Sorry, guys, but sometimes it can be like this. You have to change and change and change. So let's do it again. Formats, fonts 22, tablet book, no, alignments, no, shading, black, no. Let's try that again. Okay, font 14. Okay, that's the right one. So okay, what I was changing was the header. My bad. Was meant to be this. Well, so this is the pane. The pane is this place we're working on where we've just dropped our visualization. You can change the size, the text size. You can make it bold. If you want to make it white, you can make it white, but I think black works best. If you want to make it italic and all those things, all those formatting that you can do. If you have colors that you want to use there, you can also change the font type. You can do tableau bold and all those things. You can do that. But one other thing is missing. We can do the what's it called? The values, right? Let me just close this. We're missing the show ID, right? If we do show ID to label, or if we do show ID, we want it as a measure, right? We can create so show ID. Let's just do one more time to label. Didn't do what I want. Let's do count show ID. Okay, let's do this label. There it is. So you can see show ID again, move to text. We can now see the value 190, 1969, and 423, right? You can also change that if you want. You can change, let's see if I still remember this. Yeah, we could do percentage of total. There we go. So sometimes with the click of a button, you don't have to do anything. Based on the data that is there, you right click, go to quick calculations. We want to show it as percentage of the total, right? That means it sums up everything and tells you what percentage is what percentage. And what can you do again? You can format, go to pane. You want to make it bigger, you make it bigger, make it bold, make it darker. Is that the right one? It's not the right one. Font, bold. Okay, let's try it on this one. Okay, it's not a pane. 14, bold. It's not changing, but we'll get to that. It just takes a bit of practice. I haven't used this in months, so yeah, this is just what I learned to do in the class. If you feel that it's showing where you don't want it to show, you can just click on it by left clicking, and you can see you can drag it inside. You can do the same for this, and you can drag it inside, and you have this. This is show types, right? And that's another chart. I can call this show types, right? What else can we do? Let me just show you guys what else we have in here. We have, let's open another sheet. We have release year. I think somebody mentioned something. Someone said a line chart. So, Bowe, what do you think we can do with the line chart and the release year? What would you like to see with the line charts? If you don't know what a line chart is, a line chart is basically what I'm hovering on top now on the right-hand side. It's a bit grayed out, but that's a line chart. What do you think we can display with the line chart, Bowe? Bowe, are you there? Bowe,
Hi,
don't keep,
Femi.
yeah.
Hi, did you call me? Sorry.
No, I was talking to Bowe. I was asking Bowe a question.
Oh, okay.
Okay, seems Bowe is not there. Bowe mentioned the line chart, so I think we can do something with the line chart with the years. I think we can find out per year how many of these shows were released. And the way we can do that is we go to the release year. I mean, there are two different ways to go about that. We go to release year and drop that on the rows, or actually we'll drop it on columns. So all the release years, we want to see that in there. But something else is missing. We want to see the show ID. Add all members. We want to see the show ID as a measure. That means we want to count it. That's what allows us to be able to see that. But something is missing. It is the release year. Okay, let's do that back. The release year is actually meant to just a year. Let's go to date added. I think we can use the there with this. So some of these sometimes this thing is very smart. It knows exactly what you're trying to do. I moved the column. Let's just go back. I moved the columns of the date the shows were added. That is the day they were released. All I had to do was move it to the columns, right? And it gives us this line chart. And it shows us, the frequency of releases. In 2008, there was two. 2009, there was two. 2010, one. 2011, there was 13. So this is how, when you have to deal with dates, you can find out the frequency of things, how they matter in the scheme of things. Let's say sales now. You want to know which month do you sell the most, right? That means you have to compare the month in that year to this total sales in that year. But this has already aggregated everything. So instead of here where we are already we're only counting, imagine this was sales. What we'll be doing is we'll be summing up the sales, and we will just be putting the year on the columns, and we have our what's it called? Our line charts. Something else is missing that we think we can add the labels. We can add, again, control down on show ID and drag it up to label. And you can see we have total of how many. So in 2017, there was 1,299. So imagine somebody is trying to make an informed decision of, oh, when was the most busiest period for us let's say we are a studio and these are all our releases. This was the early days. They want to say, oh, when these things actually change, when did it change for us? We can see that first year, second year, third year, they didn't release much. But in 2011, they had 13 releases. Now, the way line charts can work is you can compare this to maybe, let's say, investments. So maybe they have like another data source that shows how much was invested into the company. We can have a dual line chart. So that dual line chart will now show the level of investments and the results. So people use this to calculate sales. In sales context now, they will calculate the sales and the let's say they calculate total sales and total expenditure. They want to know which month is it, visually they made more profit, or they want to compare profit and expenditure. So that's where dual line charts work. In this context of a studio like Netflix, let's say they invested, you know, you can compare, right? You can compare the investments to the results and have a dual line chart on this, but there's nothing about the investment in this data set. I'm just trying to show you an example. And you can see that in 2019 they peaked. They had 2,349, right? And this is how a line chart works. I'm going to call this shows per year, for example. These are optional, by the way. So we can do something like this, shows per year. You can format as you wish. You can take some of these lines off. Just a lot of what's it called? I saw something just now. I saw a null value. Now, so there's 11 releases that are not properly classified. You can decide to exclude them, right? And then you can go back to your line graph and drop your counted measure back into labels. You have that. Does anyone who wants to see anything else? We can see rating. What would you like? Can someone tell us one thing that we think we can showcase for rating? So I'm going to open a new sheet and then maybe someone can tell us if we can do anything with rating. So I'm going to open a new and I'm just going to drop ratings here. So these are the options here. Can anyone tell us what it is that we can, visualize with rating? Anyone? There's no bad answer. There's no bad answer. Anyone? Somebody help me, I'm stuck. Juliet, not you. Somebody help me, I'm stuck.
You're
Adewale,
looking for trouble by calling Juliet.
No, I didn't even call you. I don't want her to think I was talking to her, so that's what I was asking. I mentioned someone's name now. Was it Adewale? Adewale, are you there? I like this your profile picture. What do you think we can do um with with ratings? Anything you think we can do? Adewale, don't be shy. I'm going to call all the A's. Ayobami,
Can we do title?
title. Let's see. Let's see what we got in title. So you're saying we should combine title with adult members. These are all the titles, by the way. That's the names of the movies. Are you saying we should combine the names of the movies with the ratings?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So if we wanted to see all our data in one whole sheet, that would make sense because, well, I mean, we already have that in our data set because each data set has each row, for example, one chance to dance has a rating already, right? It will have a rating already. One chance to dance is already TV parental guardians, right? Parental guided. This is what it looks like in our database that we imported. So this we didn't aggregate anything. We're just basically looking at an Excel sheet. But what we can do is we can group them, right? I want to know how many TV 14 titles, right? I want to know how many TV PG titles. I want to know how many titles are PG-13. Those things we can actually get in there. So for us to do that is the same way it is right now. Just take the title off. But there's one thing in this database that already aggregates that for us. It is this show ID because it's unique. Although the titles can be unique, but it doesn't mean they are unique. You can have two titles with the same title. And as you are aware, there are movies out there that they have exactly the same name, as well as songs. They have exactly the same title. So title is not unique for us. We're going to use the show ID. That's the unique identifier. So what we'll do is we'll come in here and drop it in rows. Let's add everything, right? But we don't want it to show as a text. We want it to show as a measure. And when I say that, I mean we want to count it, right? We will do count. And as you can see, it has already made it a count. Now, visually speaking now, we can tell that TVMA, this rating now, is the most, has the most number of titles in our data set. And we know the next one is this one. If you want to see things in an orderly manner, there's a quick way to do that on the top here. You can sort by ascending or descending order. So if you just click on this, you can see left to right, it goes in ascending, right? If you do the other way, it goes in this order. So these tools are smart, they allow you to do that. One other thing that is missing is, I can see this thing is over 2,000, right? But I don't know how many unless I hover on top of it. What can I do to it? Can someone help me with this? Somebody who was the person that helped us with title, I think you can let us know. What do you think we should do? We did this before for the other two sheets. Okay. EB has helped us here. So she said label. So what you do, you control down because we already changed this to number. These rows here count. We've already counted all the shows ID. Just control down on your keyboard and then you just drag it to label. And voila, we have that there. Like we did before, we had a null value that we don't need. We can always exclude this by right clicking and just exclude. But if we had cleaned our data properly, we would not have all these issues. And 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂𝐓 says percentage. Yes, we can do percentage. All we have to do, like we did before, is right click on that. Quick calculation table. We're going to do percentage of total, right? Click on that. Right, so on this one actually, let's go percentage of total. And as you can see, we can see that the most popular TV rating, right, is the TVMA with 32%. So it has aggregated everything. It has categorized it for us and it's very smart. Now, if you feel, you want to make these different colors rather than do it one by one, another way to do it is we have ratings already. Just drop it to color. I've not shown you guys that before. You do ratings and you drag that to color. It gives you different colors. You can customize these colors if you want by right clicking, actually come into colors. You can edit the colors of each of these. You can choose a different palette. Right? So I want to change this now. This is TVMA. I can come to TVMA and change it to this color. Yeah, TVMA apply. As you can see, I have TVMA in that color. One thing I did not show you guys is we can actually filter. Right now it's filtered by ratings, which is fine. I can decide to filter it by the year they were added. I can say release year and put it in filters. From 1925 to 2020, right? I say okay and I apply. Now I can decide to take this rating off because I just want to filter it by the years. I can decide to show the filters, right? Let's see what we got here. Apply to the show filter. So I can show the filter here. Right now it's a bar. So I can decide to show between 1925 only to, where is it? Oh, my bad. I did a mistake, right? So I'm supposed to make this a date, actually. I think it's in sum. Okay, let's go back. So release here, it should be change data type to, date and time. And it should be in filter. Yeah, I want to see it by the years, only the years, and I'm going to select everything. use all the filters. Okay, select all from this. And I don't need the null value, but it's actually there. But let's just see anyway. We'll do all, apply, and okay. So I have this filter here, and I'm going to show it. And if you do all, everything goes, right? Let's take null off. I know the latest values, the latest ones are 2020, 2019. If I want to exclude them from what I'm seeing, you see, it's very interactive, right? And I can see, but historically, you can see that TV14. Okay, let's go to 2020. TV14, TVMA. You see, it changes. So from 2017, if I decide I want to uncheck everything. I just want to see the last 5 years. I'll do 2020, 2019, 2018. So most people want to see, let's say, the last 5 years. There's a report I usually do every year at work. It's for the last 5 years. So I always focus on the last 5 years every year. So if I'm doing 2019 to 2023 this year, next year I'm doing 2020 to 2024. So that's how it works. You can filter your data off. I mean, we do transplants almost every day, right? But I need to do a report of a quarter. I would filter in Excel. Imagine I was doing this on a platform like this. This is how I basically do it and provide my reports on it. So that's how filters work. They allow you to show specific data. To round this up, we're just going to create a dashboard. So we're calling this is the breakdown um, of the ratings. So ratings breakdown. So as a data person, you can see things that no one else sees. That's your job, to find insights, and you can visualize them any way you want, right? You can visualize them any way you want. So let's say this is what we have here, and we want to make all the things. We have 4 sheets now. We want to make it a dashboard. Because I've already visualized how I want this to look, I sometimes use a pen and paper. I draw it how I want to place things. So I just have to create those things and placing in those bits. Unlike Power BI, like I said before, you can just create on a dashboard, like a canvas, and you're just dropping it in there. So to create a dashboard, which is a combination of all these worksheets, let's rename this ratings breakdown, so that we'll be able to see what it is, rating breakdown. So we'll go to, if you look at the bottom there, you can see new worksheets, which is what we've been doing all day. The next part is new dashboard. So what we're going to be doing is actually creating a dashboard. A dashboard comprises of all these things that we've just created all in one, right? So this is the default that comes up, but you can always change that. This is the minimum format, but we want something to be big. Okay, I've just done this now. I made it automatic, so it fills the whole screen. This is my canvas now. All that is left for me is to start dropping things how I want it. But there are two different ways of doing it. You can do it a tiled way, which is a bit more structured, or you can do it a floating way. So I'm going to show you a tiled way. Sometimes it's a bit of a pain if you don't get it the way you're meant to get it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to drop the total shows, because when you do dashboards, you want to show what the key performing indexes are, right? If you look at most dashboards, let's assume it's sales. You can say, oh, in the month of, or in the whole year, how many customers, transacted with you. That's how many unique. You will have done that count of how many unique customers. Then you will do how many transactions. And you see this a lot with, let's say Visa or some of these, let's go local to things we're familiar with. Some of these um, technology platforms that want to show that their people use them a lot. You now say, oh, total transactions in the year of this is from aggregating data like this. So the key performing indices for them would be, oh, total customers, total transactions. For banks, it could be, oh, new sign-ups. Yeah, just things that you want to highlight that, yes, total, and and summarize that this is what you did. For us, we just want to show the total shows in this cohort, and you can see it's already here. Because it's tiled, it's taking the whole space, right? All I had to do was just drag the sheet. All the sheets you created would be on the left-hand side. I drag total shows there and I can see it there. Next thing I can do, the show types, when you drag it, if you go to the left, it shows you, it divides the screen for you, but don't drop it. But I want it to be under, so I go under and I drop it here. And as you can see, total shows at the top, show types are there. The line chart that we created shows per year. I can drag that as well and put it in there. The ratings breakdown, I can drag that and drop that as well. So this is how dashboards are made in Tableau. It's a tiled format, so it would aim to keep things as smooth as possible. Now, you might be thinking it's not looking nice and everything, then you can always change. I want to actually have only that there, and I can say ratings breakdown to be in the middle here, and I can move this up. Now, it's still not looking nice. Can we make it better? Definitely. Here, I can make this fill up the whole top. All you have to do is come here to more options. There's a arrow down here, and I would say fit to the entire view. And if you notice, I made something centralized. This is the main reason why I made it centralized. This one did not because it's stubborn. So we can do that here, right? And you can make things bigger so they appear much, much bigger, right? Change the colors if you want. A lot of people, after they're done with the skeleton, they now start making things a bit more visually appealing in there. So that is how that works. For the total shows, you can edit the title. You can make it bigger as well. Actually, you have to select it, make it bigger, apply, and you have something like that. So if you look at sample dashboards, you see all these key indexes, they are always there, big, so that you can see. Those are the things that, to showcase whether they did well or they didn't do well. Just something summarized. Those are the key things that they want to showcase. Now, we have this here also not looking as appealing as it should. What can we do? We can always fit it into the entire view, and we have something this big. You can do what I did the last time, make these things bigger by just right-clicking, formatting, yeah, and changing the look and feel of it. Yeah, you can do all that, make it bold, make it darker. Do your formatting. Same thing for this. Basically, you can do all that. That's how that works. Does this still looking as good as we want it? Maybe, maybe not. We can always change this. I want this to be under this. Yeah. So that means I have this here and I have this here. This looks a bit tiny and all those things. We can fit it to entire view, which is fine. This is also fitted to entire view. So you can have different aspects in your dashboard. This can work as a simple dashboard. I can have, if I had, wanted to showcase more KPIs, I can showcase them at the top. I can section them here. I can have them here. I can have them here. I can have them here. And you will see sample dashboard that have things like this a lot. If I wanted to compare different other things, I can, section them the way I want it. So this is a simple dashboard. All these numbers, all these things, you can always take them off if you don't want by right-clicking and just removing the headers, right? And this is basically how Tableau works, how Power BI works by just creating this. And on the right-hand side, you can see the filters. You can actually change the filter. Let's edit the filter. I think there's a way, condition, general. There's a way to have like a smart filter where you can just drop down and select. Yeah, that's some of the other uses. Yeah, there's a way of doing that. If this is too long, you can group them, make them 90s, the early 2000s, the late 2000s, all those kind of things. So this is basically how Tableau works, really. And you only do this, you're able to do this perfectly well with a lot of practice. Yeah, with a lot of practice. And then if you do, the more you do, the more you get better at it. And before you know it, you become a data visualization specialist. Like I said, different companies, different ways of working. You could be someone whose job is just to create data visualizations, tell a story, while another person's job is to, clean the data or even extract or just get the data from different sources and give it to you. Then you do your cleaning, do your visualization, tell the story, and then you present that. So some people's job can just be Excel, 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 Excel all day, all morning. Some people's job can be a bit more technical than that. You can be the one writing queries. Writing queries, once you get the hang of it, and you understand the database you're querying, that's SQL, you'll be able to do that for people. People would always ask you, I need data from this point to this point. That's where your querying skills come into play, and you're able to do that. Any questions for me?
Sorry, hello.
Hi.
This one that we've done on this Tableau,
Yeah.
can we do the same on Excel or no?
Yeah, of course. Let me see how much time I have of that data set. Okay, so I'm not going to use okay, I think I can. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if this works. I don't have a physical Excel on so I'm going to create one on it, right? Create Excel workbook, right? But we need to first open the data. So let's just do file. So this is Web 365. Some features may not be there. Upload from this device. I'm gonna go to Netflix titles, and you will understand if you were here from the beginning. You understand when I said different sheets mean different table. As you can see it here, Netflix title, Netflix directors, countries, tasks. This is where we worked on, by the way, Netflix title. The easiest way to do this with what we just did is create what we call a pivot or pivot tomato tomato. So what we call a pivot table, right? That's the quickest way to summarize data. So when you have data like this, the quickest way to do is just come here and create a pivot table. Yeah, and it tells you this is it. Yeah, this is what I want to do. Put it on a new sheet for me, and this is my pivot table. And these are all the things you see in Tableau that you saw. Now, what did I do in Tableau? I wanted to get the total number of shows, right? What did I do? I just aggregated it, right? And this format is showing something I don't want to see. Let's make it numbers. Okay. It's showing this because it is summarizing it. It is summing it up, right? You can see here in the pivot table, it says sum of show ID. But what we want to do is not sum, right? We want to count exactly what we did in. Did we have 6,232 in Tableau? Yes, we did. That's our total shows in Tableau, right? Let's go back to our Excel. Now, I like Excel because sometimes I can just copy this and come back here and paste it, right? That means I have my pivot table again. What else did we do in Tableau? We did TV shows by movies, right? These are the show types. What did we do? We did type, right? The same thing we saw in Tableau. We're going to see it here, right? And show ID, what did we do? We put it in columns, right? But what we want to do, okay, remove fields. Let's go back. So what we're going to do is show ID. We want to make it values. Again, it is summing it, but we don't want to sum it. What do we want to do? We want to count it. And the same breakdown that we did, right? The same breakdown that we did. Let me change this to this Web 365 can be a bit of a pain. I'm trying to change the format. Take up the where are you? Where are you? Okay, there you is. Decrease decimal. So the same thing that we did, right, is what we have here. We broke it down and we can exclude this as well. The same way we did we moved, oh my bad, undo. I think we can. Show, move, repeat, blank, filter, yes, filter. We can take off, someone's mic is on, please mute. Yes, it's your mic. Yeah.
Check.
So the same thing we just did. Let me just mute you. Osazua. Osazua, moderate. Okay, thank you. All right. We've just done the same thing we did here, which is, TV shows by movie title. The same thing we did, we can create a chart of it, right? All we have to do is do what? Highlight it, insert, and, do pie. Someone said a donut chart. You see how easy it is. The same way it's easy to create in Excel. It's the same way it's easy to create in Power BI because from the same company. So now we got this chart here. That's what we created off this. The same thing. If you don't want it to be, if you want to do exactly the same thing in the pie chart, we do the same thing. Come here, we do inserts, and we make it a pie chart, right? That's exactly what we did. What's missing? Percentages, right? What do? We come here and we value setting, show value as percentage of, is it column total or row total? I think it's row total. Yeah. Nope. Undo. Let's come back here. Value field setting. Show value as percentage of grand total. Excel, don't fail me now. Show value as column total. Was it column I did before? Show value as percentage. Show value as column. Show value row. Show value as parent row. Okay, so this takes a bit of knowing exactly what you're doing. Parent total type. Nope. It's not what I want. It's supposed to be remove. It's supposed to be. Let's just go back. Show value. Let's take this off. No calculation. All right. The other way I could go about this is a longer way. That would be me now doing my what's it called? I'll be doing manually. I know there's a smarter way of doing this, but for the sake of this, I'll just do manually. Right? I can see this is 60 something percent, right? But I could just, which I don't want to do. This is just the last resort because I'm under pressure. And I must show students what to do. So I can see this is 68%, right? And what did we get here? 68.4%. This is just me manually working. But there's a quicker way of doing this. I just need to calm down and do it, which I can later. I put this in the wrong cell, right? I'm going to paste that here. Next one is this divided by this gives me 31%, right? And times 100. That gives me 31%. So I can then now use whatever it is I was doing before to create that pie chart that you're going to see here. With here, all you have to do is add data labels. You have the numbers. And these numbers, if it had worked, is the best thing. You just have to click. You just have to click. Summarize value as number, count, sum. It is counts. Maybe if I count down later. Usually you just have to choose percentage of grand total and you just summarize it like that. But let's stick with this for now. You can change to automatic. You can format your titles the same way we've been doing before. What else did we create here? We did ratings by show breakdown. Again, what do? I can copy this pivot or pivot table again, right? And I'm going to paste it. My bad. Copy, paste. Okay, something is missing somewhere. It's not pasting. Existing sheets. Yeah. Insert. Okay, so this is my pivot table again. What did we do? We did shows per year. Okay, let's do ratings breakdown. Ratings, click on it, and the breakdown. And show ID in values. Again, it is summing it up. I don't need to sum it up. All I need from it is to, I think there's a quicker way to do this here. Show value as, summarize value as count, basically. Yep. And as you can see, it's counted everything in there. You can exclude blanks if you want. Get to that later. All you have to do is come here, insert, and we did a column chart for that, right? Sometimes Excel is smart. It knows exactly what you're trying to do. It can recommend charts for you, and then you just insert it, right? This means why not insert? Something went wrong. You couldn't insert the suggested. Please try again. So this is probably this is an issue with MS 365 online Microsoft, right? Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I would basically just okay, let's see what happens. I'll basically just insert column. Yep, and we have this. Right, I can exclude this, yeah, these blanks and the null values, but we have basically the same thing that we have in Tableau, right? But the way it works in all this is after you're done with all this, you now have to create like a dashboard and start formatting the canvas, removing these lines, and then you now start doing what we did before. So let's say count of show ID now. Yeah, extra formatting things that you would do. You would come here. Let's say this is your dashboard. You would place this is if this was a picture. I don't know if this can turn into a picture. Let's see. Okay, there should be a nope. Okay, there isn't. So usually what people who use Excel would do is they would manually add like a text box, format the background, right? It would be something like this, right? And then they will just do equals to, let me take this off for you guys so you see. This is like the old way of doing dashboards that people do. They can have this here and then they will do equal to what? You go to your previous sheet, which is this one that has your value, equals to this value. Okay, that's not working, but they will do this. They would merge and center, yeah, and they will do equals to, and then they will go to the sheet and just pick the value, right? So this is the manual way, and then they will do their what's it called, formatting and text and everything. It's like a long way. Everything has to link to these sheets. That is how they go about it before the advent of all these new tools. You will do this, then you will come to here, you will pick this your chart that you created, and you will go and drop it here, right? And you will do this, and then you will come here, pick your chart that you created. You will come here and you will do this. This was how people used to do this. People do dashboards in Microsoft Excel. So of course, is you can do it, but some tools are just smarter. Like this now, it gives you this. This is fine, although it gives you flexibility to increase, decrease, and all those things, but it requires extra effort. Some things are easier on it, I do admit, yeah, but the other ones they have smarter options for you. Who asked the questions? Was that all right for you?
Yeah, it's okay. I just wanted to know if one could do it on Excel, but I can see that using the other software is better than doing it on Excel.
Yeah, so that's some of the limitations. So if it was on Power BI, you would also love it. If you know how to use Excel before, some of those things would be you just have a blank canvas and you just be all these things we're picking, you pick it the same way and have something visually appealing on there, customize, put pictures and all. Oof. Any other question? Are we happy? Are we HAPPY? I think we are.
You know we are sure we are.
Yeah.
I just needed to sing it for you. Since the whole class is
Honestly,
quiet.
I was about to back you up there. We are HHPP, but yeah, let me just record it.